Trade always finds a way, like water, around these barriers and blockages. And how, in particular, do you think China would reposition itself?
Well, great to be here. And you're right. And I think the way to think about not just what's happening with Panama, but more broadly, both the Trump administration's approach and how China has responded to the situation is national security dominated economic policymaking and corporates, BlackRock, CK Hutchison, whoever they may be, having to change the way they operate because of the way national security is now dominating. And I'm coming to you from Washington on the eve of what could be the start of a global trade war. This is the backdrop. This is what everyone is thinking about. And they are deciding, China and countries around the world, how they are going to react, how they will have to reorient their businesses. And so the Panama situation and CK Hutchison comes in the midst of what is a sea change in the way countries and corporates in those countries have operated over the past decades, and we're living through that change in real time. And this is just the tip of the iceberg.
And it's interesting to look at the conversation from the perspective of us out here in Southeast Asia. And I've got to say, we are in the firing line, given the countries that have been identified under the Dirty 15 list. So does that mean, if we look at the reorientation from an ASEAN point of view, does it mean a re-energized, expanded RCEP and CPTPP, and possibly, let's bring in China here, possibly a reinvigorated Belt and Road?
It's possible. What's going to happen based on Trump's tariffs tomorrow, the reciprocal tariffs, depending on what happens, is realignments that could not have been imagined before Trump came into office again. So things you never could have seen happen in the Biden administration, countries working together, will happen because their economies will depend on finding new ways of dealing with each other. That's certainly true in the region you're coming from across Asia. That will happen. And you will see things that will happen in trade, development, FDI, portfolio flows, other dynamics that are critical for these countries to mitigate what's happening from the U.S. And they will make alliances and alliances that wouldn't happen otherwise. And that's what you're going to see in the diversification front, I think, over the coming weeks. And you'll see it quite quickly in response to the tariffs.